sun is shining. The previous visits here have been hurricanes, flood, mud, terrible weather, but it's a beautiful fall day, and looking forward to tomorrow night.
Man, am I looking forward to that too. You know, whenever you've got two special quarterbacks in a game, you know, they go against each other, but they really don't. Obviously, they're going against the other's defenses. How do you see this playing out, Chris?
Well, two excellent defenses against those quarterbacks. I mean, Louisville is a complete team. They're not just Lamar Jackson. And I think that Clemson obviously has a ton of talent on defense. And the last 2 years, the games have been super defensive. It's been basically a hopeless situation on third down. And so, you know, I think they'll be much better offensively this year, but I think that, you know, the defensive guys are extremely motivated about you know, all the hype coming into this game.
So you're saying the defensive is taking it essentially personal, that we're not talking about them?
I think so. I mean, you got Lamar Jackson, who's played 4 games on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I showed some of the Clemson guys that cover. They took great interest in that. Deshaun Watson's been on the cover a few times last year. But, you know, I think that, you know, Lamar Jackson, and I think it's the nature of our culture, you know, to be fascinated with the sensational of the moment. And listen, I called the game at Florida State. He made those guys look terrible, but it's still a very small sample of work that we have to go on. And I think that, you know, the Clemson guys have certainly taken note, and they'd say, we hadn't done that against us, and let him prove a little bit more, and let's see how he responds when he faces true adversity. And when things aren't easy, you're not getting 9 yards of play and scoring 6 touchdowns a game. I think that that's what's great about this sport, though, is that the guys are constantly learning and growing. You get to see how they pass those tests and how they respond to new challenges, and that's going to be really interesting to see, because the dude is a sensational athlete. The combination of suddenness and slipperiness and strength, and he can throw the ball on a dime, and he's super accurate. I think he's still learning the quarterback position, so there's an excitement of watching how he performs, but there's also some questions that haven't been answered yet that makes it tomorrow night fun.
So what are the questions that you think need answering when it comes to him?
Adversity, just dealing with lack of success over a period of time against the best defense that he's seen. The Seminoles had great athletes, but they were discombobulated on defense, disorganized, had busts right away. They got behind, and I think Louisville just had their way. I don't expect that to happen with Clemson's defense. He may be that good that he can still generate, you know, 150 yards rushing against them and 250 passing, but it's a test that hasn't yet been passed, and it's on the road, and the crowd will be electric and tough. And he's still a guy that is getting by on instinct and ability while he's learning to play quarterback. He's making the wrong decisions on zone reads, but it doesn't matter. He's just too quick for the other guy. And I think that there's a premium on decision-making and poise and taking care of the ball when you're in an environment like this against a team this good. They've turned the ball over a bunch. They have negative turnover ratio, Louisville, but it doesn't matter because they're just gaining huge chunks of yardage. It might matter in a game like this against a better defense, but you know, the public has made Louisville the favorite. After Vegas set Clemson the favorite. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's a very close game, but Clemson's not easy to beat in here, that's for sure.
Chris Fowler joining me here prior to calling Louisville-Clemson on ABC, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. And I guess people are wondering, why isn't Clemson on offense looking like Louisville's been looking on offense? Like, what have you been able to glean from just being there and what you're hearing about the Deshaun Watson-led offense for Clemson coming to this game?
Yeah, I talked to him today and his teammates as well. I think that they feel like it hasn't yet clicked. They've dropped a bunch of balls. Deshaun's accuracy has not been as good as it was last year for whatever reason. He's overthrown some balls. You know, they've not been able to have their way with the running game yet, which sets up a lot of their passing game. Things haven't clicked. They didn't really click early last year either, if you recall. And Clemson, as an offense, really got going from midseason on, and they're all expecting that to happen. And maybe beginning tomorrow night. But, you know, Deshaun's added about 10 pounds. He's stronger. There's nothing really wrong with his game. He's as prepared as ever. I don't think he's let the success go to his head. I think he's still grounded, and he still does credible preparation. I just think it hasn't quite clicked yet by their own high standards. It's not bad, but you know, they have to play better on offense, and I think they'll develop. And Louisville is a hectic, chaotic defense, unconventional, aggressive. They come right after you, and it's going to be, there's not challenges for the Clemson offense either. I mentioned the challenges for Jackson. Watson has some serious challenges too, dealing with what Louisville throws at you, all the blitzes and the pressures, and they are loaded with talented players on that side of the ball too. So Deshaun will have to play his best game.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.